Welcome to Real Estate Success Podcast, where we interview top real estate agents, real estate investors, practitioners in real estate space. My name is Tommy Kim, your host. My co-host Cole Harvey. What's up, Cole?
What's going on, Tommy? And thank you guys for joining us today on the Real Estate Success Podcast. If you like the content and you like what you see, be sure to smash that subscribe button down below. Today, we are very honored to have Erica Hall as our guest. Erica is a top producing agent here in Southern California. She's already doing 60 deals a year in only her second year in the business, starting from scratch. So make sure you guys take a lot of notes, pay attention, and you're going to get a lot out of today's interview. Tommy?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, like Cole says, click on subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and enjoy this video. Looking forward to seeing you on future videos. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate Success Podcast. This is your host, Tommy Kim, with my co-host, Cole Harvey. What's up?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, guys? How you doing, Tommy?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, man. This is really cool.
Yeah, we have a special guest, very special guest, Erica Hall from Lifetime Realty, who crushed it as the brand new agent within first 30 months of getting her license, getting into real estate, closed over 60 plus transaction sites. Man, it's an amazing feed and amazing story. So it's a special treat for the audience we're gonna deep dive into what Erica did to get to that point. Cool. So absolutely. Erica, hi, welcome.
Hi, Tommy. Hi, Cole. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. We'll get right into it, Erica. So tell us about your journey. How did you get started in real estate?
Well, so yeah, that's a good question. I had a little bit of a buildup getting into real estate where there was this period of time where I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was bouncing around a couple of random jobs in my 20s. It was a time where I was really figuring out what it was that I wanted to do in this world and really who I was as well. And I was in a position where a lot of realtors get into before they get into real estate, which is that I hated the chains of that 9 to 5 and showing up every day. I love the idea of building something of my own, building financial freedom for myself, time to spend with friends and family whenever I wanted to without adhering to the schedule of my boss, and doing the things that didn't really excite me, that I didn't enjoy. And I wanted to get out of that grind and build something for myself. So that was where I was at before I decided to get into real estate. I was attracted to the fact that you could build your own schedule for the most part in real estate. And I learned a little bit more about that as time went on. But that was probably the biggest attracting factor to this industry, was being able to feel like I could build something of my own and make my own time and make time work for me and still be able to enjoy life.
And how did it go in the beginning? Is that what it turned out to be, or how was it? What was the reality like when you first started?
Well, so it turned out to be a little bit different than what I expected. And I've since heard people say things like, I quit the 9 to 5 to work 24/7, and I can relate to that. I mean, it was different, and you get you go from being an employee where you have like things designated for you to do, you stay in your lane and that's all you do. And you show up at this time and you leave at this time, and you can leave work there. And what I found out when I got into real estate was that I had to be my own boss. I had to decide. You don't get clients handed to you. So I had to work for the clients and growing my business. And that fell on me. The buck stopped with me, not with anybody else, the boss just giving me things to do or somebody just sending clients my way. It was all up to me and it was my responsibility. So you have this shift from you're just somebody who's delegated to the person that you are responsible for the entire thing. and you don't make any money unless you get to work and grow it yourself.
And how'd that
That's
feel in the
what-
beginning?
It was scary.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. You get like, I guess you start out like this, you're excited because you're starting this whole new journey. You've had a lot of time probably while you're prepping for your exam and interviewing brokerages, and you're imagining all the possibilities and what it's going to be like, and hearing of all the success that other people have had. You're probably watching YouTube videos and YouTube coaches out there talking about, how great real estate is. And then you're hit with the reality of how difficult it is to be successful in this business and how much work is actually involved in getting those results. So it feels overwhelming and scary when you first start as a new agent.
Yeah. So what were some of the things that Erica, let's say you got your license, what were some of the things that you first got started working on in your business?
The first thing that I started was I remember picking up the phone and circle prospecting with just property owners, people that owned that, I had this list of people that owned homes, and I would just cold call them. And I started like getting familiar with what it was like to be on the phone. I was listening to Ricky Carruth a lot at the time, who talked about circle prospecting, and you just want to talk to as many homeowners as you can every day. And that really helped me to get familiar on the phone, talking to strangers. Partnering up with people that were active, getting a little bit of field experience is really super important, because everything that I learned about working in this business, I learned by doing and practicing and being out in the action of it. So that was really valuable. And I hosted open houses. I got a few of my first clients doing open houses, and it started from there. Pretty much just started from those three things: phones, partnering up with active agents, and then doing open houses.
So you were building relationships with property owners, building relationships with other agents so you could collaborate, and then getting yourself out there to at least meet as many people as you can through open houses or other ways of being in front of the public.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
See, and so how did that go the first few months? I mean, was it kind of a grind at first, or how long did it take you to start, I guess, having some success, or having that effort kind of pay off?
It took me 6 months to get my first client. I got licensed in July of 2019, and I had my first client in January of 2020. And that was an amazing experience for me, because I hosted an open house for one weekend at a vacant listing in Tustin. And it was not even my own listing, not even a listing of my office. It was just a random guy who lived in the Inland Empire who had this listing. It was a flip, and it was vacant. And it also happened to be the first week that was on the market, which is prime. If you're hosting somebody else's open house, if it's the first week on the market, that's like when you want to do it. So I got 3 buyers from that one weekend of open house, and one of them ended up being the first deal that I closed on my own.
So can you tell me really fast? So, okay, this wasn't an agent in your brokerage. This was an outside agent. It was like an MLS listing you saw?
Yes.
And you just reached out and offered to help him out?
Yes.
And he was
I
cool
was
about it?
focusing, yes, I was focusing a lot on farming at that time. In the very beginning, that's where I started. And so I was looking at vacant listings in, the farm area that I wanted to focus on, and trying to host opens there so I could meet people in the community.
Very, very cool.
At the beginning, Erica, that 6-month period, that's very typical of someone transitioning into real estate to get into the business, to see fruits of their labor because of the sheer prospecting, marketing, and we don't know, we're our own business owner. That 6-month period, usually people have difficulty surviving or sustaining. What was going through your mindset, and what were some of the things that you you had to be strong in turn to just stay positive with it.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that still holds true today, that was true back then, is that my mindset was that it wasn't an option for it not to work. So that wasn't like a possibility in my head for it, this somehow wasn't going to work out. It was like, it's going to work out, and I just need to put in the work to get to that point. So, and I think that that's a really big deciding factor in whether or not you're going to have success or not, is what's your mindset? What are you telling yourself on a daily basis? Is it no, you can't, or is it yes, you can? And one of the things that I was telling myself was, yes, I can. I just need to do this footwork to get there. And so that whole 6 months, it was like, just do the footwork, put the work in. I had faith that it would work out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's the most important thing that you learned out of that? For what was the kind of the learning moment out of that for your career?
That the work works. I say that a lot. You put in the work and the results will be there. And I do think that a big part of that too, while you're putting the work in, is the mindset. And, if you have a positive, optimistic mindset about what you're doing, the results will be in your favor.
That's awesome. Okay. So how does that go from there to 30 months later, 60 plus transactions? Walk us through some of the things that you had to go through to get to that kind of a volume.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big jump. So I guess
It's a
I
big
guess
jump.
maybe the first step would be to explain how do you go from hosting other agents' open houses to multiple transactions? Like how did that look for you?
Mhm. So it is a big jump to go from that to 60 plus people helped. And it compounds over time. So, the first client I had, it was like, oh my gosh, I have my first buyer. We opened escrow, like the first offer we submitted, which is hard to even think about
nowadays.
and comprehend right now. But and then it snowballed. I did another open house, and it was like a month before COVID hit, and I was just on a roll with the open houses and meeting buyers, and I learned a lot about, how to talk to people and what's important to clients when you're trying to like express, basically you're trying to get somebody to work with you. What are the ways that you do that? So I learned a lot about that. I had another client that I got from a different open house. They opened escrow. By this time, I had been, partnering up with a couple of agents in the office and learning the listing side of things. And that was huge for strengthening my experience in the business and how a deal looks from start to finish. And then, a few months after that, some friends and family started coming out and trusting me and seeing that I had been, doing well so far and had closed a few deals. And so I think, first full year, I closed 13 deals. And I had a really big turning point around, it was like the middle of COVID, around summertime of 2020, where I felt like, I was ready to be more aggressive, like with my prospecting. Like I felt confident about my abilities as a real estate agent. And I felt like I really could help people. People genuinely liked and trusted me when I got in front of them. And I just needed to make it my full-time job to get in front of people and set appointments so that I could get more business. And that's what I did. I got back on the phones again after having taken a break for a long time. And I started booking appointments with people. And I was focusing a lot on for sale by owners. And I found that I was pretty good at booking appointments. And then when I would get in front of them, I was pretty good at getting the listing as well. And then that started to snowball for another like way of getting clients, and I still had the other streams of ways that I was prospecting. So that's how it gradually snowballed over time.
So it kind of sounds like what you did is, like when we talk about marketing in real estate, so it sounds like you kind of started off looking for prospects through an open house, but ultimately you learned to kind of fold in your sphere as well as outbound prospecting to kind of get yourself to that next level of volume.
Yes. And I had a couple people come out of my sphere that wanted to work with me, and it dawned on me that, the sphere is always there looking at you and watching what you're doing. You just have to be visible to them. And so I did social media. I started making sure that I was being consistent with that, and, sharing as my business was growing, what was going on behind the scenes. And, this is an escrow, this just closed, and the day-to-day too, because people are watching that every day, even if they're not even thinking about doing any business. So I started to factor that in as well, just being visible to people in my sphere. And that's through social media these days.
So you kind of build credibility with your sphere through social media.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
What mediums did you specifically use, Erica? What worked for you?
Well, it's like an ever-changing thing too, social media. So when I first got started, one thing that was really good that I'm glad I did was I got comfortable on video pretty early on. I mean, sometimes you can't tell because I choke up still and I get nervous, but I had a lot of time to just practice from the very beginning. So I got comfortable just like throwing the camera on and talking to the camera. As uncomfortable and awkward as it always feels, even to this day, that made it easier to do it the next time and the next time. So I would do just short videos, giving tips. I would do stories. And then that evolved, like when TikTok came out, TikTok was a big thing, and then Reels on Instagram. And video is huge now, bigger than it was even just a couple years ago. So I'm glad that I got into that early. I jumped right into that. And now I'm focusing a lot on stories and Reels to stay in front of my sphere.
That has a better reach than just posts anyways, right? Like people tend to log on now to see the video content versus the, pictures of the house or whatever you might want to post.
It does. Yeah. They're saying Instagram is no longer a picture app. It's a video app now. It like hides pictures and it boosts videos. So
crazy.
Yeah. So when you started, now you're getting some momentum through social medias from people that you know. Was it what you expected before you started, or was it very different, Erica? Now that you're doing the business?
Everything is different than what I expected. There's nothing that's been the same than what I expected. But it's brought up as you get deeper into the business, and as mine has grown, it's brought up new challenges. It's brought up new, things that are great that, I love the experience of getting results for a client on a listing where they wanted a certain price and they were maybe apprehensive and they weren't sure when we were sitting down at the listing if I was going to even be able to deliver, and then pulling through at the end and being able to give them those results, those types of things, and getting rewarded, feeling so rewarded from that. That's not something that I expected. And then on the flip side, it's, some of the challenges, the hard work, the, tough skin you have to have in this business.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that, weren't expected. I'm sure I could talk hours for the things that, I've learned throughout, these past 2.5 years that I wasn't ready for. It's hard to be prepared.
Did you have any pleasant surprises, at least along the way when you first started?
I did. I guess I did. I was really pleasantly surprised when it started to work out as quickly as it did. You hear a lot about the failure rate in our business and
Oh, yeah.
how, the 90% of agents fail in the first few years. And so I was really pleasantly surprised when, it started not looking like that for me. And I was really grateful about that.
Absolutely. So you did 13 deals your first year, and then you said along the way you started to kind of mix in some more aggressive outbound type of prospecting, like FSBOs and whatnot. Did that
Yes.
happen? Was that your first year that you started that, or was this like after the first 13 deals, after the first 12 months that you started kind of trying to expand your lead generation?
Yeah, no, so let me clarify. So I started, so like mid 2020, I'm about a year in the business. And that's when I had like sort of a breakthrough where I was scared of getting on the phones. I was scared to aggressively outbound prospect. And then I shifted into just going for it. And then, so my full first calendar year of 2020, I closed 13 deals. And that was including a few at the end of the year that resulted from that breakthrough.
What was it that kind of got, well, I mean, if you could give us the one thing, or if there is even one thing, how was it that you kind of got through that fear where you suddenly decided, yeah, I want to start doing this and I'm going to be consistent and get better at it?
I was scared. So I started to like look around and see like, oh, every time a deal closes, I'm unemployed again. And I don't know where the next one is coming from.
Right,
And
right.
it does get, I talk about like mindset is so important, but that's not to say it's not easy to, let your mindset sometimes get filled with doubt and get filled with fear. And that happened to me. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm really scared that, it was just a fluke, that it, worked out with these couple deals from the open house. And I've been tagging along with some other agents. I need to figure out really quick how I'm going to make this work. And so I think a little bit of fear is good sometimes, as long as you're responding to it positively. And in that case, it inspired me to, to dig in deeper and work a little bit differently to try and drum up some new business.
And what was the beginning of that like? I mean, was it so? Well, I guess the question would be is how long did you have to kind of take those at bats with the phone prospecting to become less afraid of it? Was it quick, or was it like, did you do one day and realize it wasn't so scary, or did you kind of like have to start and stop over a period of time before you're able to settle into doing it full time?
Yeah, there was definitely a trial and error. I spent some time role playing with other agents in my office, and you guys hosted role playing sessions, and those were helpful for me. And then actually getting on the phones and just practicing on the phones over time helped me to improve. And I wasn't amazing on every call, but yeah, it over time got better with each call.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
And that's
As
still
you,
to this day, sorry, Tommy, still
yeah,
to this
no,
day, my favorite type of prospect is for sale by owners. I love them.
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's really awesome.
yeah. Audience should see you prospecting. You're great at it. So great at it. So you progress forward along. You had mentioned that the scarcity about, oh, is it gonna stop? When do I get my next deal? So now
Mhm.
you're getting deals consistently, and that's where a lot of the agents want to get to, because your volume shows and you have tons of transactions and business going on right now. What are some of the things that you implemented to get to have more consistency in your business like that?
Definitely picking up the phones and making calls consistently and focusing on, being consistently visible to my sphere. Those are the single two things that have resulted in business month after month. Certainly, like the phones, that is like the most important thing that helped me build my business in the beginning. That's the number one thing by far.
Do you still adhere to like a schedule to make sure that you are touching both, so that, like, I mean, how do you make sure that you're staying consistent with your social media and that you're still having time with, certainly with all those deals you're closing, like, to have time to still make calls and to follow up with people?
Yeah, it gets really challenging to manage time. That's one of my points for improvement right now, because my volume has increased so much. I have not been prospecting the way that I'd like to be. So my word for 2022 is systems. I want to implement some systems so that I can use leverage, hire somebody else so that I can get back to prospecting and keep growing the business, keep it growing. Like I don't want it to get stuck where it currently is. And when you have a lot more business and you have a lot more growth, you have to like manage your time. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now, is manage it better so that I can truly grow. Right now, to be honest with you, I'm not prospecting. So that needs to change.
I mean, having that much referral business, though, is a good problem to have, though, nonetheless. I mean, I think a lot of people would die to have that kind of return business, though, from their database.
Yes, it's a good problem to have, but I have a vision of bigger growth too. So I want to grow outside of that as well. And yeah, so that's my goal, is to systematize so I can have both going at the same time. As far as social media, I do schedule that out and try to organize that, because it's really difficult to stay on top of it and do it every day if you're just like, okay, what is it going to be today? And it'll just get pushed down the road. So I plan it out every week.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I think that way you can, if you know what you're going to do for the week on a day-to-day on your social media, it must be a lot easier to like program it out and build it out and get it good to go.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What is Erica, what is one piece of advice? I know you had mentioned picking up the phone, visible to the audience. What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out their career?
Probably that your full-time job is to set appointments, direct conversations with people that leads to an opportunity for an appointment and then leads to an opportunity for business. That's like what the number one focus would be. And I remember when I started making that my number one focus, it started like really unfolding for me as far as getting more business. That's my full-time job, is having conversations with people that lead to appointments. If I could get it in front of somebody on the appointment, I could, grow my business. So that's what advice I would give.
So you focus on the stuff that actually moves the needle in your business.
Yes.
There's a lot we can be doing in this job to fill our day that doesn't necessarily help us build business or make money, even though it makes us feel really busy. That's for sure.
Yes. And, social media helps me a lot to stay in front of my sphere. But it's much more of a long-term return, much more of a longer cycle. So in the very beginning, I can't stress enough how much it helped me to just be focused on getting appointments and nothing else. That's what paid off the most.
What's your favorite productivity hack, Erica? What
Productivity
would you say?
hack?
Yeah, that works for you.
I really like doing this, and I'm not sure if it's a productivity hack, but at the beginning of each day, I'm a big to-do list person. So I have my to-do list, and I love checking things off and crossing things out. And at the beginning of the day, I'll write the most important things to win the day. And I love that wording. Because it's like, if I do these things, then I've already won the day. And then I put them in the beginning of the day, and it just helps with your whole mindset for that day. You feel accomplished, and you feel like maybe your most difficult tasks are already taken care of. So that's what I like to do. I like to put my biggest, maybe most difficult tasks in the beginning and make sure that I do those.
Do you find that in general over time that you tend to have the same tasks day in, day out that are just kind of built into your business that you have to be mindful of doing? Or is your business dynamic enough now at this volume that like every day is just truly different and you have new to-do lists, stuff to do every day?
Every day is different. I truly have a list of new things that need to be done every single day.
Crazy.
And it comes down to, follow up with this person, make sure that this is done. And it's a long list of things that need to be done that day. It is like real estate is repeating the same process over and over and over again. But within that, there are many moving parts that you can lose track of easily. So, and you have multiple escrows going at a time, multiple balls in the air.
Yeah.
So to-do lists are important. And a lot of the time, the bigger tasks I'll find that they're like weighing on me if I don't take care of them first thing. So if I do take care of them first thing, it helps me to be more productive. And I already feel like I've had a great day already.
Erica, what time of the day do you get your best work done typically?
In the morning.
In the morning.
Definitely. By the evening, my bandwidth has really dwindled and I don't have a lot of, I just don't have a lot more left in me. So I definitely work best in the morning. I'm more focused.
So you're more of like the traditional office stuff in the morning, appointments in the afternoon kind of an agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what's like an underrated tool that's indispensable for your business? Like this tool that maybe someone can. I try to get tips for the audience.
Besides to-do lists.
My TC.
Yeah.
No, she's not a tool, but she's great. Hugely, like you have to have a TC with multiple deals going. And then the MLS auto email for buyers. I would spend so much time cherry picking, homes for all the buyers, but that really, it's simple and it sounds stupid, but it's like, it sends them properties and they heart it and I know about it right away and then I can set up the appointment. So that's one of my favorite hacks.
Sweet. Yeah. So Erica, if you can go back to rewind, so when you started your journey, what you know now, what's one piece of information you would give yourself starting out in this business?
Good question, Tommy.
Well, first of all, would you tell yourself to still start or what?
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely tell myself, keep going. I wouldn't change anything about the way it's gone so far because I really do feel like everything, leads to the point where I am today. There's things that I'm still working on. It's like, I am still a work in progress that has a long way to go. And I truly believe that, success comes, but that doesn't mean that that's where it ends. So what I am working on is, like I said, managing time better now that it's gotten more busy. Dealing with overwhelm and feeling like I have too much on my plate sometimes. And also like getting emotionally involved with, the outcomes for my clients. So I think, I think success in this business is proportionate to how you can navigate your emotions because it's a roller coaster. There's a lot of up and downs in real estate. And so I think what I would tell myself is buckle up for the ride. And, you like, don't get so lost in, that specific deal, that, outcome. It will all work out like in the long run, as long as your intentions are good, which my intentions always are good. And just sort of like reminding myself of the bigger picture rather than just like the minute details day to day, because they get really easy to get lost in those and you kind of lose track of the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. There's for those of you guys that's listening in our audience, man, Erica, 60 plus transactions within 30 months of starting getting newly licensed. She just unpacked a lot of great nuggets about what to expect in this business, what to do. Let's get some closing questions thrown out there, Cole. So what is your favorite real estate or business book or resource that you would recommend to the audience and why?
When I first started, the book that helped me the most was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. That is huge about building habits, and every little action compounds over time to amazing results. And whether it's negative or positive, if you look at one result that you have, either negative or positive, it came from a lot of tiny little actions that led up to that. So that really helped me to be consistent with, everything day to day and keep, my mindset on what the goal was. Also, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. That helped me hugely with figuring out how to talk through negotiations and just open my eyes to some things, some helpful tools.
That's huge. That's huge. And so where can the listeners find you online, Erica?
On Instagram at I'm Erica Hall, IMERICAHALL. That's my Instagram.
Yeah.
Very cool. I guess what I'd like to know is, so now that you're 30 months in and we've done 60 transactions in 30 months, what does the next 30 months look like for you? And then what's your ultimate like long-term plan? Like say the next 5 years of how you'd like your business to where you want to go and scale.
I map out my year at the beginning of each year, and I made a 5-year plan this year, which I haven't made in the past. And so I want to improve my volume by 50% this year. And then I have a goal of selling 75 million by in my 5th year. So by my 5th year, that's the volume that I want to do in that 1 year.
75 in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. All right.
That's huge. That's huge.
All right.
Yeah. So that's just so much. Thank you so much, Erica, for sharing your wisdom in this business. And those of you guys, like Erica said, you can find her on Instagram. I'm sure you can find her on Facebook. Cole, any last words before we go here?
No, I think the big takeaway that everyone should have gotten out of this is that it's all right there as long as you just are intentional about taking action. And it sounds like Erica, once she got comfortable kind of with the mechanics of the business and working in the field, then she really understood the value in putting herself out there and prospecting and being intentional about attracting new business, and how that led to kind of the snowball in her business that helped her do the volume she's done so far. And I can't even wait to see what you do the next 30 months is going to be crazy. And see if you can actually hit 80 in 1 year. Maybe we'll see if you did 60 in one.
Yeah. Erica, thank you so much for joining us today at our Real Estate Success Podcast. Thank you. And we'll have you in the near future once you get closer to that 75 mark, right? We want to have you come back and share the story with us.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, as always, you guys, we're sharing powerful real estate tips on real estate sales and investment on Real Estate Success Podcast. Cole, thank you so much for joining me. And
thank you.
As always, we say level up every day, guys. Thank you so much. Bye now.